Hi all, myself Preeti from RMG Engineering College. So today we'll be seeing about variable inductance transducer and variable capacitance transducer. So in this, the first part we'll see about variable inductance transducer. So variable inductance transducer, I hope you can see this diagram. So this is nothing but the variable inductance transducer. You can see it is like a knob like a structure. There are three important parts of a variable inductance transducer. It is nothing but a coil, a movable magnetic core, and a pressure sensing element. So these three parts are very important for a variable inductance transducer, and it is completely based on the principle of variable induction transducer. So in variable induction transducer means you will be having the three parts, which is coil, a mobile magnetic core, and a pressure sensing element. This variable inductance transducer, it has been differentiated with functional types. Okay, when we consider about functional types, it is of two. One is simple or self inductance, and another one is mutual inductance. So the examples of variable transducer are, totally we have 5 examples, and these 5 are going to be the examples and also the types of variable transducer. So the first one is induction potentiometer. The second one is LVDT. The third is variable reluctance. And the fourth is synchro, and the last is resolver. So now we'll see all this in detail. So the first one, before going into the examples of variable inductance transducer, we'll just see about the functional types. As I've already told you in the previous slide, variable inductance transducer is divided into two types by considering the function. So the first one is simple or self-inductance type transducer. So this is being arranged by some constructional arrangement. We can see that here. So the type 1, type 2 and type 3. In type 1, this particular magnetic core, as I've told you, there are three parts for a variable inductance transducer, which is coil, magnetic core and a pressure sensing element. So type 1 is the coil wounded on a rectangular type magnetic material. Type 2 will be the same particular coil. It is wounded on a cylindrical type material. And the third one will be two coils joined together, or two coils will be used. Okay. So variation in inductance will be calculated by L equal to N square by R. So this L is nothing but the inductance length, N is number of rotations, and R is nothing but the reluctances. So the reluctance of the magnetic coil can also be expressed as using the formula R equal to 1 by mu naught mu R into A. So now we'll see this type 1, type 2, type 3 in detail. So constructional arrangement type 1. In inductance coil, as I've told you, this is the inductance coil wounded over a rectangular material. You can see this is the rectangular material or magnetic material where the coil is wounded. So this is type 1, and the material where this coil is wounded is nothing but a magnetic core, and that magnetic core is made up of ferromagnetic material. And the force which we are going to use here is called as magnetomotive force. So you can see a armature element placed here. As I've told you, we will give a pressure sensing element to this armature. At once when I give a pressure, this starts moving and it produces a air gap. That air gap will induce the change in the coil, which is being recorded as the output. So this is what the constructional arrangement for type 1. Now we move on to constructional arrangements type 2, which I've told you like inductance coil wounded on a cylindrical type material. So you can see a cylindrical type in that the coil is wounded, and the same procedure. So I will be giving a pressure sensing element to the magnetic core. Once I give a pressure here, this magnetic core will be moving to and fro action. Once it moves, they will be inducing a change in the coil, which will be recorded as our output. So this is how, and you can see it is also called as a movable magnetic core. Okay. The third one is inductance transducer of two coils. So you can see that here. So two coil will be there. In that a magnetic core will be there. Around the two coils will be wounding the coils. Okay. So magnetic core located at the center of two coils, and the change in the ratio of the two inductive coils is be noted here. Okay. So these are the three constructional arrangements of variable inductance transducers functional type. So functional type, we saw the first one, self-induced. Now we'll see mutual inductance type transducer. So it's nothing but two coils, that is input at first coil A, output at second coil B. You can see here, this was the first type. In a rectangular medium the coil will be wounded. But what happens here? You can see it is wounded on both the sides, whereas A, it is considered as an excitation input and B is the output coil. The same thing, other than that, everything will be the same. A armature element is there, a pressure sensing element will be given there, and the air gap will be produced. That air gap will induce the change in the coil. So this is what mutual inductance type transducer. So next we will see examples of transducer in the next video. Thank you.